The Nigerian digital ecosystem is currently experiencing an absolute earthquake of viral information this March 2026, driven entirely by a phenomenally explosive and deeply controversial headline that has completely saturated every major social media platform from YouTube to WhatsApp. This heavily circulating and sensationalized piece of content boldly and aggressively claims that the United States government has officially and legally recognized Biafra as an independent, sovereign nation, while simultaneously blasting massive congratulations to the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. For millions of deeply invested individuals across the southeastern region of Nigeria and the massive global diaspora, this specific combination of words represents the absolute pinnacle of their long-held political and regional aspirations. It is precisely the kind of magnetic, emotionally charged headline that instantly triggers widespread jubilation, rapid sharing across community groups, and intense, heated debates in the comment sections of every political blog in the country. To fully understand why a headline of this specific astronomical magnitude is suddenly gaining so much incredible traction right now, we must take a very deep and analytical dive into the actual geopolitical maneuvering happening in 2026. The reality is that the halls of power in Washington District of Columbia are currently serving as a massive, highly contested battleground for intense international lobbying. Powerful, heavily funded lobbyist groups representing the Biafran movement in exile have been working absolutely overtime, pouring massive resources into aggressive campaigns designed to capture the attention of the current United States administration. They are desperately trying to force the American government to intervene in Nigerian affairs, constantly pushing narratives about regional marginalization and severe security crisis. At the exact same time, the Nigerian federal government has deployed its own highly paid international public relations firms and diplomatic envoys to fiercely counter these exact narratives, spending millions of dollars to protect the nation's sovereign image and assure international partners of the country's stability. When you have this level of intense, high-stakes political warfare happening quietly behind closed doors, it inadvertently creates the absolute perfect breeding ground for massive digital misinformation. Opportunistic YouTube creators take a tiny, insignificant piece of information, perhaps a brief meeting between a minor lobbyist and a low-ranking political staffer, and maliciously twist it into a colossal fake breaking news story claiming that the United States has officially signed a declaration of independence for a new nation. Let us be absolutely unequivocally clear on this matter. The United States Department of State, the White House, and the United States Congress have absolutely not issued any official declaration, signed any bilateral treaty, or made any public announcement whatsoever recognizing Biafra as a sovereign entity. In the real world of international diplomacy, the recognition of a new nation is a monumental, earth-shattering event that completely reshapes global geopolitics. It involves the United Nations, massive international press conferences, and the immediate deployment of ambassadors. It is absolutely never, under any circumstances, secretly announced through a brightly colored, heavily edited thumbnail on a random YouTube channel. Furthermore, we must critically examine the highly misleading congratulatory message directed at Nnamdi Kanu in this viral headline, which intentionally paints a completely false picture of a man who has just achieved a massive final victory. When we pull back the curtain of internet fantasy and look strictly at the verified, documented legal records from the Nigerian judicial system in early 2026, the reality of his current situation is profoundly different and requires our utmost critical attention. The absolute truth is that Nnamdi Kanu is currently deeply embroiled in the most intense and difficult legal battle of his entire life. Late last year, specifically on the 20th of November 2025, a massive, highly controversial judgment was delivered by Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court in Abuja, which resulted in a severe sentence of life imprisonment for the separatist leader based on terrorism-related charges. This was a monumental legal blow that completely completely shifted the dynamics of his case. Following that massive judicial decision, Kanu's highly dedicated legal team did not simply give up. They immediately went back to the drawing board. Just a few weeks ago, on the 4th of February 2026, Nnamdi Kanu officially filed a comprehensive, highly detailed notice of appeal at the Court of Appeal. In this massive legal document, he is aggressively challenging his conviction, insisting that his trial was riddled with fundamental legal errors, constitutional violations, and completely amounted to a massive miscarriage of justice. He has argued that he was tried under repealed laws and subjected to double jeopardy, and he is currently demanding that the appellate court completely quash his sentence and grant him total freedom. As we speak today, he is securely held in a correctional facility in Sokoto State, physically far removed from his regional stronghold and entirely focused on navigating the incredibly complex, highly unpredictable maze of the Nigerian appellate court system. He is not currently sitting in a diplomatic office receiving international awards or recognition from American officials. The incredibly massive contrast between the viral internet fantasy being sold to the public and the harsh, highly complex legal reality of his current existence is absolutely staggering and demands our immediate recognition. If you are finding this incredibly deep dive into the complex political and legal realities of 2026 to be deeply informative, eye-opening, and absolutely necessary in a world filled with constant digital deception, please take a very quick second right now to heavily smash that like button and actively subscribe to this channel. Your immediate action, your continued support, and your subscription are absolutely vital in ensuring that we can constantly fight back against the dangerous algorithms that promote fake news. By subscribing and turning on all your notifications, you empower us to continuously deliver the highly researched, strictly factual, and completely unbiased political storytelling that respects your intelligence and keeps you perfectly informed. So please make sure you join our growing community of truth seekers right now. We need more citizens who are willing to completely reject the cheap allure of clickbait and demand absolute journalistic integrity, and your subscription is the greatest way to support that massive mission. We must also deeply consider the profound psychological impact that this relentless daily avalanche of targeted fake news has on the younger generation of Nigerians, specifically the millions of highly active youths who rely almost entirely on digital platforms and social media algorithms for their daily understanding of national events. When the digital ecosystem is constantly polluted with massive sensational lies about international interventions, secret political alliances, and imaginary diplomatic recognitions, it completely distorts their understanding of how real-world governance, international law, and global diplomacy actually function. Instead of learning about the highly complex, slow-moving realities of legal appeals, constitutional arguments, and the rigorous demands of democratic institutions, they are fed a highly toxic diet of instant gratification and digital fairy tales. This creates a deeply dangerous political environment where completely unrealistic expectations are heavily fostered, and when those impossible expectations are inevitably dashed against the hard rocks of reality, it breeds a deep, dangerous level of massive political apathy and social resentment. The situation surrounding Nnamdi Kanu's highly publicized appeal from the Sokoto Correctional Facility is a perfect example of this massive disconnect. While his legal representatives are currently engaged in a highly technical, deeply complex battle over statutory interpretation, the application of repealed terrorism laws, and the fundamental constitutional rights regarding fair hearing and double jeopardy, the internet is completely busy spinning wild cinematic fantasies about sudden international rescues and completely fabricated diplomatic recognitions. We must absolutely bridge this massive gap between digital fiction and legal reality if we ever hope to build a deeply informed, highly resilient, and truly democratic society that can actually withstand the massive pressures of the modern information age. It is our collective, undeniable responsibility to aggressively challenge these viral falsehoods, constantly elevate the standard of our daily public discourse, and completely refuse to be used as mere mere analytical data points or financial commodities by the deeply cynical architects of digital propaganda. The absolute truth may not always be as instantly thrilling, massively viral, or emotionally satisfying as a carefully crafted internet lie, but it is the only solid, completely reliable foundation upon which we can genuinely understand our present reality and actively, intelligently build our collective future as a nation.